Retirement planning is the process of setting goals for your retirement years and action and decision needed for achieving those goals. It includes identifying sources of income, estimating expenses and cash flow, implementing a saving programs, and managing expense. Unfortunately, for most individuals living in Malaysia who have not planned for their retirement, it is a stage of life dominated by: first is limited income, difficulty in meeting basic living expenses, dependency on children, healthcare issue with related expenses, sacrifices and hardships, and no enjoyments. For retiring individuals without adequate income during retirement, living on handouts from family members can be both challenging and humiliating. In Malaysia, most workers are not part of retirement system. Non-government pensioners citizen mainly depends on: the first one is the next generation to support them in their old age. And second one is income from property. The third one is their business profit, if they have any, and interest on bank deposits. Moving around the EPF withdrawal age, lately, the topic of the best retirement plan in Malaysia seems to be on the tip of everybody's tongue. In essence, people are worried about retirement. The HSBC's Future of Retirement, a Balancing Act survey, showed that more than 2/3 of working age peoples are concerned about running out of money during retirement. Adding to that are troubling statistics released by the Randstad Work Monitor, Questions Number 1 2015 survey, which show that 82% of employees in Malaysia expect to retire between the age of 60 to 65, well above their retirement age. Malaysian law specifies that the minimum retirement age should be no less than 60 years old. This applies to all of the private sector, although there is nothing in the minimum retirement age. For every senior citizen, there were more than 16 of the working age population to support him or her. However, in 2050, a senior will have only 4 people of the working age population to support him or her. Enforces a savings program through the EPF, the program that employees pay a portion of their wages into the fund, which is then matches by their employer. The EPF itself is then required to manage this fund in order to grow the savings. The fund was originally intended to provide a minimum annual dividend of 2.5% back in 1952 when it was started, but has since surpassed that number each year. Around 5.5% over the last 10 years, resulting in increasing contributors' saving by a sizable amount. Yet, the reality is that over 3/4 of EPF contributors are earning less than 2,000 ringgit per month, while another 50% bring home between 2,000 ringgit and 5,000 ringgit. That leaves only the top 10% earning more than 5,000 ringgit per month to have any realistic chance of hitting a sustainable nest egg by the time they retire. The retirement saving goal set by the EPF is 2,400 ringgit Malaysia. This is assuming that the person is planning to retire at the age of 55 and will live for another 20 years. EPF also reported that only 80% of its members can actually meet minimum savings targets in their account by 55. Clearly, the intention is that you will have other means of supplementing this number, be it through passive income streams or through alternative private savings. Retirement saving is through a private retirement scheme. This is comparable to a fixed deposit account, with the only difference being that the financial institution is actively managing the funds for you. The scheme is managed with the aim of giving higher returns despite most PRS brochures providing estimates that are comparable to fixed deposits. The core principle of getting people to start saving through a PRS is compound interest. Compound interest is where your money grows due to interest payment from the interest you already collected. This accumulates over a long period of time and then leads to substantial earnings that will be ready for you to use when you are ready to retire. This also means that you need to be getting the most out of your interest payments. This also doesn't always mean the highest interest rates. Lower rates could mean lower risks, which is sometimes better for long-term investments. You should also remember to keep investing these in savings on your own, using the compound interest as a reward for saving so much. For example, the IMP Principal PRS Plus offers an interest rate of up to 8% per annum, as quoted in its brochure. Under this scheme, a monthly saving contribution of just 250 ringgit Malaysia compounds to 367,040 ringgit Malaysia after 30 years. Some important point to note and consider. Analyze your income and expenses and ensure that you can spend less than you earn. Prepare a budget that includes regular saving and stick to it. To ensure that you do not withdraw money from retirement savings account for emergencies, separately save money for emergencies such as unemployment, accidents, and medical expenses. Open an individual pension account by visiting your local asset management company or pension fund. You must have realistic expectation about post-retirement expenses. While your income will decrease, your expenses are likely to increase over the long term. Most people argue that after retirement, their annual spending will amount to only 70% to 80% of what they spent previously. Such an assumption is often proved unrealistic, especially if unforeseen medical expenses have to be paid. Always seek financial advice from a trusted financial advisor. Financial professionals can help you design a saving plan appropriate for your particular situation. Make a habit of saving regularly and try to increase the amount you set aside each year. Ongoing lifelong process that takes years of commitment to build retirement funds needed for a comfortable retirement. While it is not possible to cover all topics in our brief discussion above, it is hoped that you now have a basic understanding of retirement planning.